Hi. As you can see, we've been a bit busy around here. His name is Vikram, and he's our second child. Everything went fine. It's still a pregnancy, still a delivery, but everything went fine. And we are delighted to have him in our family now. So there is a little anecdote about the delivery that I wanted to share with you. It has to do with a topic that I find quite important and that I already covered in previous videos. And it's about journaling, writing notes, and diary writing. So I'll tell you this little anecdote and what is the meaning to me and what we can take out of it. And then we'll dig a little bit deeper into these ideas. And by the end of the video, I will tell you some weird kind of medical concept around the amniotic fluid pocket. Let's get into it. So there we were, Friday afternoon, in the provocation unit of the maternity here in Lausanne. And as she sets up the monitoring material, the very energetic midwife asks us to tell her about how the first delivery happened. The delivery was from our daughter. And so we explained to her what we remember. And we don't have that much to say and that many details. And it's about maybe the 10th time or the 20th time during the pregnancy that we explained that same thing with so little details and so blurred memory. And so we explained it to the midwife. And then she leaves the room. And at that moment, I remember something, and I tell my wife, well, actually, I think I keep this diary for our daughter about what happens with her. And I wrote things. I think I wrote 4 or 5 pages about how the delivery happened with her. And my wife, of course, looks at me and says something like, well, and you just remember it now? Yes, I had not remembered it for the entire pregnancy. So some moment later, I get back home to change to put on my glasses, because it was obvious that we were going to spend the night at the maternity. And so I take this occasion to also grab the diary of our daughter. And I get back to the maternity, and for some time I read these pages. And it's not 4 or 5 pages, but it's 11 pages. And so it was a very nice moment to get back to these memories at this specific moment when we were about to have our second child. So this story illustrates 3 things. First, it illustrates how much we forget about past events. We think we will remember things, but in fact it vanishes very quickly. And we especially forget small details and also the order of the events. If you want proof of this, then just try to write down everything you can remember about the past week that you had. You see, we mostly remember important parts of events, usually associated with high emotional peaks. These are the big spots here. And sometimes we also remember some weird little details, and we don't really know why. The rest we forget. So that means, and over time, more and more gaps form in our memory. The events get eroded, and when the time comes to remember things, either we know we don't remember, we know we have these gaps, or something happens with the brain and it starts recreating some pieces of the events with imagination. It recreates things like this. Second, this story also illustrates how writing things down does make a difference, because once things are written down, it can be recovered. 5 years, 10 years, 100 years after the event, you can still have these information. It anchors memory, and hopefully it prevents too many gaps to form and too much of your imagination to fill in the gaps. And it's also a tribute to a special moment. It's a reflection about something that happened and also how you felt at that specific moment. And third, the fact that I not only had 4 or 5 pages of written material, but 11, shows that when we start the process of writing things down, it's like pulling some kind of root, and there are many little details that come with it, details that we had already forgotten, but that we are able, at that moment, by starting the process, we are able to recover them. I'm sure you know what I mean. You know that many people keep a journal, and there is a great example of this in an interview on the Tim Ferriss show. It's an interview with the film director Robert Rodriguez. He keeps a journal and he's quite consistent with it. I think a big part of his day is devoted to journaling. I will put the link of this interview here below. I'm sure you know Richard Branson. He had to deal with dyslexia, and for this he took the habit of writing everything down in a notebook, which he carries with him almost all the time. And he writes down everything that happens during his day, and especially the meetings. And so he can recover these informations very long afterwards. Journaling or diary writing is also an important part of the heartfulness meditation practice. In that case, the goal is to write about your inner condition, how you feel inside after a meditation or during the day. And that is important because these feelings are the type of things we are able to forget really very quickly. Our inner states, our inner conditions. And we write these down so that we can first reflect upon these conditions just at the moment. And we do this also to witness the changes over time that we have in our condition. So A few years afterwards, we can get back to our diary and we can see that at that time, maybe 10 years back, we were experimenting these type of conditions, these type of inner states, and that we maybe no longer experience things like this. There has been a change in our inner condition, a consistent change. So what I want to encourage you to do is to keep some kind of record of what happens in your life, on a professional side, on a personal side. I'm sure you already do it in a way or the other, and here are a few ideas on how to make it a little more consistent. So first, you will have to choose what you are going to record, because obviously you cannot have everything. Then, well, you will have to record things either in written form, which is the most practical, or in audio form, that's also possible, or in video, which is very heavy and very difficult to handle. Third, you will have to remember that you've written things down. As we can see in my example of the delivery of our daughter, I had this material, but I kind of forgot I had it somewhere. So you have to remember you did it, you have to remember where you stored it. And I've been actually perfecting this system with some classification rules and some storage area. I will get back to this in some future videos because I find it quite interesting, these reflections. And finally, for important events, try to have different people write about that same event. That will help you have different perspectives on this event and even more details, because we each remember different things about events, and it's very interesting when you can put all this together. So now let's say a few words about some medical vocabulary and concepts around the amniotic fluid pocket. Well, a pocket, we might think that there is a pocket and with fluid inside. But actually, I recovered in the diary from my daughter's birth that there are two pockets. We didn't knew it before this, and I also didn't remember it. And at one point, during some tests with him during the pregnancy, the doctor said that he could see 4 pockets of amniotic fluid. And that actually disturbed me a bit, because I was wondering, how is it possible that one baby is in 4 pockets at the same time? And I asked the midwife at the next meeting, and she explained me that in fact the 4 pockets are so-called pockets. It's 4 areas that the doctor can see with the machine, imagery machine, where there is amniotic fluid. That means that there is enough fluid, enough fluid for the baby. So please leave a comment below on your way to keep track of things, on your way to record your memories, and what you do with it. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please subscribe to this channel. See you next time.